Hi there. Thank for watching my views and news. Viewers, breaking news for you. It seems that Ethiopia, Eritrea tensions are going to escalate to unprecedented levels. Asaha government is going to face a challenge, a major challenge. Question is Ethiopia pursuing the policy of controlled escalation, or is it preparing for an all-out war on Eritrea? Eritrean opposition groups have announced to start armed struggle against Eritrean government from Ethiopia. They're going to use Ethiopia as their base. Will Eritrea tolerate that? If it won't, what will happen? And do these groups have the capabilities to remove Isas Afwerki? Do they have the organization? Let's have a detailed look at what is happening. Firstly, we know that on Monday, Eritrean opposition groups met in Addis Ababa. Brigade Hamido held a conference in Addis Ababa. EANC also participated. Eritrean Afar National Congress, another Eritrean opposition group, which is now based in the Afar region of Ethiopia, because a few days ago EANC opened its office in Samra, Afar. EANC leaders, Brigade Hamza leaders, they were seen together in Addis Ababa. Now, one of the organizers of the conference has announced that soon Brigade Nihamedo will start armed struggle to remove Eritrean government of Isaias Afwerki. Who is this leader? How influential is he? Can we say that entire Brigade Nihamedo is behind this man? His name is Kiros Asfaha. He's an artist, a singer, I think, and he's been very close to Ethiopian intelligence agencies. In May, I wrote an article on newsedis.com. You can read the article there. And in May, Eritrean Brigade Nihamedo opposition group was preparing to meet in Addis Ababa. Back then, Kiros Asfaha and another Eritrean opposition activist were very active, and they traveled to Ethiopia to organize the conference. Kiros has been in contact, in coordination with the Ethiopian intelligence agencies. And he is the main man who is organizing Brigade Nihamedo programs in Ethiopia. I said before Saturday that the Ethiopian government was trying to establish an alliance of Eritrean opposition groups. These groups have been operating separately. In diaspora too, they are operating separately. ENC has no connection with Brigade Nihamedo. Brigade Nihamedo has no connection with Rasado and other opposition groups too. They have been operating separately. Ethiopian government has been trying to bring them together on one platform. And it partially succeeded, that it managed to bring the two groups together, ENC and Brigade Hamadu, in Addis Ababa. Rasado is set to join as well, Red Sea Afar Democratic Organization. Kiros Asfaha says that the only option left for Eritreans now is to start an armed struggle. And he said, soon we will start an armed struggle and will be based in the Afar region of Ethiopia. From there, we'll operate, we'll fight, we'll remove Isaias Afwerki government. ENC is based in Afar, Rasado is based in Afar, Brigade Hamido wants to be based in Afar. Now, a question was is Brigade Hamido, when it was launched around 2 years ago, never said that it was an armed movement. It always said that it was a peaceful political movement working for democratic political change in Eritrea. So this Brigade Hamido chapter, which is operating in Ethiopia, might not get public explicit support from other Brigade Hamido factions in other parts of the world. But can Kiros Asfaha led Brigade Hamido, ENC, Rasado conjure up the support and organize a strong Eritrean opposition army? Over 2,000 were seen in Addis Ababa when Brigade Hamido and ENC participated. There are uh, over 1,000 Eritrean refugees in Ethiopia. Some fled to Eritrea because of the violation of their rights there. Some fled for economic reasons. So Ethiopia could use these refugees, these asylum seekers, to be part of the opposition armed movement. Arms can be provided by Ethiopian military. Training can also be conducted. We heard from Andrgacho Sege a few weeks ago, he claimed that already ENDF channels are training Eritrean opposition fighters in Birshalego, in other training institutes. Already training is underway. Now, question was, is Ethiopia pursuing the policy of controlled escalation to force Eritrea to come to the table? Or is Ethiopia planning to go all out against Eritrea? Well, it's difficult to say. In current situation, obviously, a war is not what Ethiopia can afford. Keeping in view the ongoing conflict in Amhara, keeping in view the conflict between Ola and government, government cannot afford to start a war. It can only go for controlled escalation against Eritrea. This is what it seems to be pursuing. But question is, how will Eritrea respond? Will Eritrea pursue the policy of controlled escalation? How will it respond? It will definitely respond because when opposition group fighters are being trained, armed on a neighboring country's soil, so the target country never remains silent. Eritrea will do whatever it can to dismantle these groups and to back Ethiopian opposition armed groups as well. If already it's not doing that, it will definitely reciprocate. And it is already reciprocating according to some reports. Overall, it's a huge development, I believe, because it seems that Eritrean opposition groups have now decided. Three have decided, Rasado, ENC, and Brigade Hamido, to start an armed struggle against Eritrean government using Afar as their base, as their headquarters, Afar region. It means that in coming months, Afar region is going to be the hub of military activities. We have not seen, by the way, large scale military mobilization in the Afar region of Ethiopia, END mobilization. Much of it has been seen in the Somali region of Ethiopia because of the tension between Ethiopia and Somalia, because of Egyptian entry in Somalia. As we know that Egyptian troops arriving in Somalia, that is why Ethiopia is beefing up its military presence on Ethiopia-Somalia border. But now, when Eritrean opposition fighters are going to use Afar as their base, it means that Ethiopia will beef up its military presence in the Afar region of Ethiopia too. And secondly, I believe that the Ethiopian government will arm local Afars too. Local Afar population will also be used in the fight against Eritrea. Afars have connections. Across the border, they have connections. And government can use the Afar card that Afars should have access to port. They should be under one administration. Afars are now split. Some are in Djibouti, others are in Ethiopia, and some are in Eritrea. In Eritrea, Afars are being denied their rights. That is why Afar should rise and reclaim their territories and gain access to a support. So this Afar card will be used. One Ethiopian minister, Birhanu Emlengiso, spoke a few months ago, if you remember, saying that Afars, it's unfair to divide Afar and it's unfair to deprive them of access to sea. So Afar card will be used by the Ethiopian government. Government will, I think, Ethiopian government will establish and arm Afar militias in the Afar region of Ethiopia. Djibouti, not on good terms with Eritrea. Djibouti could play a role in supporting Ethiopian government. So Somali Isas in power in Djibouti, they don't want Afars to be powerful there. But overall, Afar region is going to be destabilized, it seems. How will Eritrea respond? Is Assasa working trouble? Ethiopia in the past too backed opposition fighters, Eritrean opposition fighters. Eritrea also backed anti-Ethiopian government groups in the past too. Basically, the region was destabilized. The countries, the governments, the systems were destabilized. Let's see how far Ethiopia wants to escalate tensions with Eritrea. Is it pursuing a policy of controlled pressure on Eritrea to stop Eritrea from opposing Ethiopian desire to gain access to sea, or to cooperate with Ethiopia for Ethiopia to gain access to sea? Let's see what happens. Thank you for watching.